Mars is known as the Red Planet, and it's one of the most fascinating places in our solar system. But there are many things you might not know about this planet that you can learn from NASA experts. Here are 10 facts about Mars. The Mars rover Curiosity-S camera has revealed huge blocks of ice on the Red Planet. Ice is a good source of water, which is important for life. It also provides oxygen and hydrogen as fuel to power your spaceship or car. Ice can be found in many places on Earth, but it's especially common in Antarctica because that continent has more than 90% of all known stores of water on Earth, about twice as much as all other continents combined. Mars is a planet that has been the subject of many science fiction novels and movies. However, the first person to set foot on Mars will most likely be a woman. What are the chances of this happening? How will it happen? What is the timeline for this? Who will be the first person to set foot on Mars? The evidence is compelling, but it's still not enough to convince everyone. Some people still believe that aliens are simply stories made up by humans, who have no idea how advanced our technology really is. However, there are tons of reasons why you should consider these claims true. There's a lot of evidence that aliens have been on Mars for a very long time. First of all, NASA has found traces of water in Martian rock samples, as well as nitrogen compounds, which could only be produced naturally from liquid water sources on Earth or elsewhere in our solar system, like Jupiter. This means there were likely other lifeforms living at one point on Mars. If aliens are monitoring us from the surface of Mars, and we don't know what else they might be doing, it would make sense for them to keep track of everything we do here on Earth too, because they could potentially use any knowledge gained against us later down the road when planning attacks against us. Or maybe even just befriending us so they can learn more about humans than anyone else ever has before. There is life on Mars, but it lies deep underground. Mars is a cold, dry planet with little liquid water. That means that life on Mars could be hidden deep underground in caves, lakes, or aquifers. Or maybe it's not life at all, it could be something else entirely. For example, there are fossils of primitive plants and animals that lived in ancient seas on Earth billions of years ago, and still live today. These fossils have been found in rocks near to where they were thought to have existed on Earth millions upon millions of years ago. NASA says it can send astronauts to explore Mars in 2035, but they are unlikely to survive the journey home. Mars has been the subject of both scientific inquiry and human exploration for centuries. But it's not just humans who have been exploring space. NASA has also sent robots to explore Mars, some of which are still active in orbit today. The problem is that most of these missions are unable to return safely from their journeys, which can take months or even years. This is because there isn't enough oxygen on board for astronauts who want to breathe normally when they arrive at their destination. Instead, they must use a closed system designed specifically for zero-G environments like those found on Earth's moon or elsewhere within our solar system, where there is plenty of oxygen available thanks again to photosynthesis by plants. You probably won't get cancer by going to Mars. Cancer is a disease that can occur in many different ways. It's caused by the abnormal growth of cells, which leads to the development of tumors or cancerous tumors. In some cases, these tumors cause pain and discomfort for the patient. In general, there are two main types of cancer: solid tumors, such as lung cancer, and hematologic malignancies, cancerous blood cell disorders. Solid tumors are usually larger than 1 centimeter in diameter. However, they can grow larger depending on where inside your body it develops. Hematologic malignancies affect blood cells such as platelets or white blood cells within your bone marrow. This type accounts for about 20% of all cancers worldwide each year. Astronauts could live in caves on Mars. The next time you watch a sci-fi movie, think back to the character who spends most of their time in caves. In this case, it's not just because they're isolated from everyone else. It's also because caves offer shelter from the elements and can be used as an emergency shelter during storms or other unexpected catastrophes. Caves are also good for growing food. They provide protection from UV rays and can help reduce soil erosion by filtering out contaminants like dust and pollen before they reach the surface. They're even ideal for mining water. Since there's no atmosphere overhead on Mars, or any other planet, there won't be any oxygen present in underground pools or lakes that may otherwise become contaminated over time due to lack of sunlight exposure. Mars has one of the largest volcanoes in our solar system. Valles Marineris is a massive canyon that stretches over 4,000 kilometers, 2,500 miles, across, with a depth of up to 8 kilometers, 5 miles. It was formed by volcanic activity on Mars, which occurred approximately 3 billion years ago. The canyon contains lava flows that flow out from its interior into an oval-shaped depression known as Isidis Planitia. These flows were once filled with water that evaporated over time due to changes in climate on Earth or elsewhere within its orbit around our planet's sun. Most of what we know about Mars is not accurate. Mars is a fascinating planet, full of mysteries and unknowns. We know more about the surface of Mars than we do about any other planet in our solar system. As one of only 2 planets that have liquid water on their surfaces, the other being Mercury, it's possible that life exists there, but so far scientists have little evidence to support this theory. As you can see, there are many interesting things about Mars that most people don't know. It's not surprising that many of these facts have been left out of popular culture. But if we look at the real stories behind these events, they make sense and shed light on what happened in our past.